In this video, we're going to talk about defining sustainability. Now, sustainability is a complex concept. We've heard it a lot. It is a global issue that encompasses virtually every aspect of our lives. Thus, it's really a challenge to define it. Most often, definition comes from the UN, or the United Nations World Commission on Environment Development, that says sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals are a call to action by all countries, poor, rich, and middle income, to promote prosperity while protecting the planet. They recognize that ending poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and address a range of social needs, including education, health, social protection, and job opportunities, while tackling climate change and environmental protection. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by the United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. At its heart are these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, which are an urgent call to action by all countries, developing and developed, in a global partnership. The SDGs recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur that economic growth, all while tackling climate change. But there are other definitions. And so you might be wondering, why are we talking about sustainable development when your problem or your issue or your challenge or your professional practice does not match sustainable development? You're not in the development field. You're not working for an international nonprofit. Maybe you're working in urban environments in Canada. Whatever your job, position, and objective may be, sustainability is an important topic. And so let's take a look at some of these other definitions that might apply more to you. Sustainability is, as this one definition says, improving the quality and equity of human life while living within the carrying capacity that supports ecosystems. Even still, try another one here. Ensuring that activities do not systematically undermine ecological and social systems and to ensure that capacity of future generations to meet their needs is not compromised. Now, here's one from the academic literature. Meeting human needs in a socially just manner without depriving ecosystems of their health. Now, what you can see is that these sustainability definitions differ, and they differ across a range of different sectors. And you might wonder, why do these matter when there's a lot of talk about sustainability, particularly in business? But it's important to see that what you saw from these different definitions is that there's a mention of human sort of social well-being. There's a mention of some economic growth and not compromising needs for the future, as well as sort of sustaining life forms and protecting the environment. So consider that as sort of laying the groundwork for what is sustainability. And when you go back to that first definition of sustainable development and looking at the sustainable development goals, that falls right in line with what we've seen in these next definitions. So at the heart, what is sustainability? Well, is it more about economics, ecology, or social science, or social well-being, or about people? Which one should be emphasized? And which value or which of these categories is relatively more important? Which should be emphasized? Well, that's especially true to think about if you are in, say, manufacturing, or you're producing some product, or you're in the service industry. Figuring out sort of what maybe you need to think about economics, or protecting the environment, or maybe human well-being. That's up to you to decide. But at its core, you need to think about under what conditions should we concern one value, and how should that override that over the others. So as I said, sustainability is often thought of or articulated as environmental sustainability, but that only tells one part of the story. Sustainability really is the balance of economic, social, and environmental factors. And as systems thinkers, you should be comfortable with thinking about a broad, holistic approach to a concept like sustainability, because you take that holistic view and you understand that there's different components, there's different actors, as well as feedback loops, and that really is what sustainability is about.